Dear viewers from home and abroad, welcome once again to another episode of Tritiyo Matra. The situation in the Middle East grows dire as Israel plans to begin its next phase of military actions against Palestine. Recent estimates from the Gazan Health Ministry place the death toll at around 35,000, with relief agencies warning that the numbers could be even higher. More than half of Gaza's homes have been destroyed, damaged, and 80% of commercial facilities have sustained damage. About 2,835 units have been damaged, and approximately 1,791 have become uninhabitable due to severe damage. Almost 2 million Gazans, more than 85% of the population, have fled their homes since October 2023. The conflict has also sparked increased regional tension across the Middle East, with Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon engaging in cross-border skirmishes with the IDF, Yemen's Houthi rebels shooting missiles at Israel, and commercial ships in the Red Sea, and other Iran-backed groups launching attacks on U.S. military positions in Iraq and Syria. To discuss the ongoing situation in Palestine more, I have the honor of hosting a very special guest, His Eminence Mr. Yousef S.Y. Ramadan, the Palestine Ambassador to Bangladesh. Mr. Ambassador, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be with you.
The Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO, is officially recognized as the representative of the Palestinian people in the UN. It would seem that in this current conflict, Israel is focused mostly on destroying Hamas. There has always been tension between Hamas and PLO for many historical reasons. However, what is the current official stance of the PLO regarding this Israeli offensive in Gaza?
Well, the PLO, as you just mentioned, is the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. It was recognized in 1974 as such. And since then, it took under its task that this organization shall be for all the Palestinian people, regardless if they live inside Palestine or outside Palestine. They have a strong body. They have ministries. At that time, they had different departments which they take care of all the Palestinian people, education, healthcare, and all these things, and did it very well. That continued to happen until we signed the Oslo Accord in 1993, and then we moved to Palestine, mainly Gaza and part of West Bank. Then the Palestinian National Authority started to taking the part which the PLO used to take. So PLO was only became was responsible only for the negotiation, political negotiation, nothing else. Administration, education, healthcare is not anymore belong to the PLO. Hamas rised, and there was a strong intention from Israel to make a split between Hamas and the Fatah movement, which Fatah is part of the PLO, the main part of the PLO. And I must admit that they succeed. They did that, and that was, we call it Nakba, catastrophe. It was the third catastrophe of the Palestinian people, that two of the biggest factions are being divided. And the only beneficiary is Israel. And that continued to go on. The PLO, the difference between the PLO and the Hamas movement is that PLO took the path of peace and negotiation. Hamas believed that the only way is by armed struggle, right? We have been negotiating with Israel since.
The goal is same, but it's
they
different.
all want the same thing. We all want Palestine. We all want to liberate.
But two different paths.
Absolutely. So this is the main problem between us and Hamas, that they believe in a different direction, or their strategy is different than our strategy.
Mr. Ambassador, every day we witness horrible news coming from the Gaza Strip. Almost all human rights organizations have stated that the situation is truly disparate and has grown increasingly worse since Israel began its invasion. You must be very well informed about the situation at the moment, and could you let our audience know about the situation in Gaza?
I think in Bangladesh specifically, the people of Bangladesh, they know a lot because they follow in details what's going on, what happened, because they really care. So they follow the news. But what I want to say is that this war or this situation in Gaza Strip is unprecedented. It never happened in the world, maybe for the last 200 years. Such thing didn't happen, including during the Second World War. Nothing like that happened. Gaza, a tiny city of 360 square kilometers, 75% of it is completely destroyed, demolished. There is not even one university or one mosque or one school or one hospitals are functioning today. All is being completely destroyed. We have almost the total people who died under the rubble and above the rubble is almost 42,000 people. You have almost more than 80,000 people injured. And that is happening to a people who their population are 2.2 million people inside Gaza Strip. That's a huge number. It's a very big number.
Indeed.
Plus, the worst of it is that 71% of those casualties are women and children. Women and children, with taking under account that Israel has the most sophisticated weapon in the world. So before they throw the bomb, they know how many people and what kind of people going to die. So they know there will be children and there will be women casualties. And yet they continue to do it. The other thing that the American also knows this, and they continue to support Israel financially, military, diplomatically. So we are in a difficult situation that it's not like you're just facing Israel. You're also facing the American, because it's your weapon, it's your money, it's your support giving. You're encouraging them. Indirectly, you're encouraging Benjamin Netanyahu to kill Palestinian people, innocent Palestinian people. You say, okay, we go after Hamas and this. I haven't seen that. I've seen Hamas is very active, extremely active, very active. Yesterday there was 3 dead soldiers, 2 of them are major, and 11 soldiers injured. And this has been 7 months, and you're considered to be one of the most powerful country in the world, one of the top 5, going against how many people? 25,000, 30,000 Hamas? 300, you cannot control 300. Look, from the beginning of the war, day 1, 8th of October, it's a revenge. Kill as much as possible from all the people, because they consider the people in Gaza Strip human animal. And that's what they said openly.
Although we are receiving a lot of news regarding Gaza, as you said, the war and the humanitarian crisis, we are not seeing a lot of coverage regarding the situation in the West Bank at the moment. What has been the effect of this war on the West Bank, and has the settler issue become much worse because of this?
The issue is from Israel is, I think, to us is very clear. It's always the problem between us and the Israeli, it's related to geography and demography. That's from the beginning. They want as much as possible people to get out of Palestine so they can seize their land. And that was their intention in Gaza Strip, to put so much pressure on the people They don't give them food, they don't give them medicine, they destroy their life, they destroy their home, they destroy their hospitals, schools, everything. So there is no life. They make Gaza hell, so people leave. So they take Gaza. Exactly the same thing is happening, but in a lower scale. Also, they want people to drive people from West Bank to get out, so they can seize their land. So this is the problem, is for them, it is geography. They want more land. Until today, there's killed more than 400 Palestinian people in West Bank, where there's no Hamas. There's no armed resistance. So here you have the soldier in Gaza, officially killing the people, and on the other side you have the settlers. You know, it's, I mean, both are working on the same line, both of them, the settler and the thing. And the leadership in Israel, they support both sides. And the world are watching.
So Ambassador Yousef, given the recent escalation of tensions and the humanitarian challenges in Gaza, what are the immediate steps that the Palestine leadership is planning to take in order to alleviate the suffering of the people, and what kind of international aid is most needed at this juncture?
You see, the most important thing still is to stop the war. Because without stopping the war, we can do nothing. We can do nothing at all. The moment we stop the war, I think, and it must happen, that the Palestinian National Authority has to take responsibility about each and every person in Gaza Strip. And I mean, of course, with the limited resources that we have. That will depend on how much the international community are willing to support us financially. And then we'll be able to take care of. There is a new government in Palestine was formed, and the main intention of the government and the main goal of the government, I spoke to two of their ministers, we had a video conference. The main intention is Gaza Strip. How are we able to rebuild houses for them? Okay, we cannot rebuild houses from concrete because this will cost hundreds of billions of dollars, but at least we will find a shelter for them, a dignified shelter, not just a tent. So the Palestinian National Authority are capable to run the daily work of those people in Gaza Strip. Definitely, I can guarantee that.
We are hearing rumblings of a potential next phase of Israel's aggression, and which includes an invasion of Rafah. Do you believe that Israel will begin such an invasion soon?
Well, Israel was determined to do that. If you ask me this question a month ago or 2 weeks ago, I would tell you Israel definitely is going to do it. Israel put a plan from the day one of the war, Benjamin Netanyahu. He wants an exclusive victory. And that victory means destroy Hamas completely, and he can return all the prisoners or the hostages back safely, without any compromise, without any negotiation, without any exchange of prisoners. That was his plan. He started using a very massive force. We have seen all that, but nothing has happened. He said the first thing 2 months, then the 2 months became 3, then 3 became 6, and now we're on the 7th month. And did he achieve anything? Nothing. He couldn't save any of the hostages. He could not destroy the resistance in Gaza Strip. The only thing he destroyed is the houses and the heart of our children and women. So now I think today, Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't have many choices. Maybe he had before, today he doesn't have many choices. Today, the people who supported, the governments and the country who supported Benjamin Netanyahu, those are the same people who are putting pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm talking about Europe in general, all Europe putting pressure. The Americans started putting pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu lately. And this pressure has mounted after the uprising of the American universities. This also plays a very important role, a crucial role in it. Because those universities, many of them, by the way, are Jewish.
Yeah.
There's big number of those people demonstrating against Israel to stop the genocide are Jewish. Those universities, they have, most of the students are from the elite class in America. They're American. Okay, so they are a kind of a power for us and for the American president who's going to run for the election, because those people are not going to vote for Biden for sure. Plus the Muslims said we're not going to vote. You have 5 million Muslims in America, and then you have the student now, they're not going to vote. So this kind of force together will be able to determine who's going to be the president of the United States. So in the future, any president come to power, he have to think twice. How should he treat the issue related to the media? How should he deal with it? Hypocrisy should not work anymore. It shouldn't. He have to be straightforward, and he has to treat us as a human being exactly the way he treated the rest of the world. That's how then we will believe in the values that they talk about.
Israel's foreign minister indicated recently that such an invasion would be suspended if there is a deal to free the current hostages being held by Hamas. Do you think this statement is true? And is the rescue of hostages even a priority for the government of Israel at this point?
Let me tell you one thing. There's only one man in Israel who decides everything. That is Benjamin Netanyahu. No one else. Not in the army and not in the government. No one. They can say whatever they want. Anything they want. But finally, he makes the decision. Benjamin Netanyahu is in trouble. We all know this. He have corruption cases. The moment this war stops, what will happen immediately? There will be a commission, investigation commission. First of all, this commission will ask questions. Why 1,200 Palestinian terrorists were able to invade one of the most powerful countries in the world and control several cities within the range of about 15 to 20 kilometers from Gaza? Where was our army? Where is our security? Where is our intelligence? There's a price to be paid. That's number one. Number two, today 70% of the people in Israel itself, they don't want Benjamin Netanyahu to remain in power. Number three, you have the corruption issue. So if Netanyahu doesn't go home, he'll go to jail. And he knows this very well. So he tried to prolong the war on the expense of his people, his soldier who's dying, and our people, to save his skin. But the majority of the Israeli society and the world leaders, they understand this fact. And they're dealing with it accordingly. That's why Netanyahu today is looking to save his face, nothing else. They provide him with something to save his face, he will accept. The hostages in Gaza Strip, and this is the right of the resistance movement. I release your hostage, you release mine. It doesn't work that I give, there's nothing called free lunch here. You give and take.
Ambassador Ramadan, Israel has repeatedly stated that their war is against Hamas and their goal is the elimination of Hamas. And yet the majority of the victims of this war have been civilians, women and children. What are your thoughts regarding this stated goal of Israel? And what do you think they mean when they say they want to destroy Hamas?
Look, this is exactly what I just mentioned before, that the main intention of Israel is not really destroy Hamas. The main intention is to vacuum Gaza completely from its citizens. They don't want anyone in Gaza Strip. They want the people to leave to Egypt, become a refugee in Egypt, so they control Gaza Strip and they take and they annex it just like they did for Golan Heights. Exactly. That's what they want. That's why, because there is no justification whatsoever that you kill over 42,000, 71% of them women and children, under the pretext is I am trying to destroy 25,000 militiamen from Hamas. It doesn't work. Nobody will believe you because everybody has seen you haven't done anything. The only thing you have done is you killed man and you killed women and you killed children. Where is those people that you killed from Hamas? Where? How many? So this is not true. So his intention is not that. And by the way, believe me, he doesn't care about the hostages. Not even a bit. Because if he cared about those hostages, he would have sit and negotiated a ceasefire and a deal with Hamas. We have 7,000, and now we have more than 10,000 prisoners in the Israeli jail. And big part of them are women and children. But nobody talks about our children in their jail. They talk about their children.
One thing for certain is that the immense loss of life and damage to infrastructure will have a tremendous blow to Palestine's economy going forward. From your perspective, how severe has the economic damage to Palestine been due to this war? And how long do you think it will take for Palestine to recover if the war comes to an end?
Look, the problem in Palestine is we do not control our resources. That is very important issue. We have big resources, lots of things. We have gas in the close to Gaza Strip, only 7 kilometer or 8 kilometer inside we have. But we are not allowed to touch that. Okay. So our resources, main resources, is very limited. We have resources, taxes from the people, in which Israel collect every year, and they pay to us and they charge us 3 to 5% service charge. Most of the time they don't pay us. They don't. Like for the last 7-8 months, not even $1 single we receive from them. That's why a person like me, an employee, I get 50% of my salary. It doesn't matter. That's not important. What's important is, without the international community helping us financially, we will not be able to do much. Cannot. Because as we don't have control over resources. Our resources, our own mineral resources, we have no control over it. It's controlled by Israel. That's why we seek the withdrawal of the Israeli troops from our territory. We don't need anybody's help. Just get out of our territory. Let us use our resources. We're flourishing economy. We're fine. We have a Palestinian people outside 7 million people living all over the world. Half of those people, they have a lot of money. They are very successful, very, very successful. They're willing to come back and invest in their home. Then you don't need anyone. Give us a chance to survive. Give us a chance to develop. That's what we're asking for.
Recently, we also saw a drastic escalation of tensions in the Middle East, starting with Israel bombing the Iran consulate in Damascus, and Iran's military responses with a direct attack on Israel, and Israel's immediate military retaliation against Iran. Do you think that there is now more potential than ever for an all-out war in the Middle East? Or do you think the effects of these attacks, especially the direct attacks between Iran and Israel, have been mainly for show, considering the very limited damage caused?
Everybody wrote about this issue and have a say about it. Everybody. People who, the people who write columns, media people, journalists, politicians, everybody. Everybody said it from his point of view.
Right.
But my point of view about this issue, that I look at it as a magnificent point. Why? Since the establishment of this state, this entity, the Jewish entity in Palestine, no country dared to, as a country, to throw one single rocket into Israel. This is the first time. This is important. And look at it from the other point of view. Iran was attacked. Iran retaliated. How many they shot from the drone or from the missiles is not important. How many fell? That's not the issue. The issue, the message was clear, that when we want you, we can reach you. That was the message I think the Iranian want to send to the Israeli. And they have sent the message very clearly, because no one dare to touch this big bear, Israel, right? No one. But Iran showed something else. Agreed upon before, not agreed, that's not our issue because we have no proof. What we have, the only proof we have, what we have seen, that Iranian retaliate, and this is magnificent, I think.
What your thoughts regarding the stance of the Arab League and YC on the invasion of Gaza? And do you think the reports are as visible as they should be?
Unfortunately, I even don't like to talk about it because sometimes I feel shy or shame to talk about it. We are 57 Muslim countries. We call ourselves Muslim country, 57. Our population is 1.9 billion.
Muslim
yeah. In the world, right? We are faced with a country or with an entity which has 6.6 million people in it. Jews, 6.6. Compare with 20, controlling around 20,000 or 22,000 square kilometers. A drop in an ocean. Drop in the ocean. This is what Israel is, drop in Arab. And imagine this drop is controlling the whole ocean. It's deciding which color the ocean has to be. I can't believe, or I don't want to believe, that all these countries are unable to do anything. If I say that, that will show them they are very weak. So I feel shame. If I say they can do and they don't want to do, also I feel ashamed. So I don't know what to say. But they can do more. They can do much more. Look, we never ask for the impossible. We don't want their tanks, their soldiers, their helicopters, their fighter. We don't need that. Nothing. We just need them. If they can take one decision only, tell the American in one voice, if you are not going to put pressure on Israel to stop the killing of the Palestinian people, we are willing to take certain measures. Just to say it. They don't have to mention what measures, just to say it, but in one voice. But they didn't.
Ambassador, what your thoughts on the international response to this war, especially in the UN? And the UN Security Council eventually came together to call for a ceasefire. There also seem to be ongoing investigations to confirm war crimes and acts of genocide being committed by Israel. Do you think the international community and the UN have had a sufficient role in trying to end this war? Or do you think they need to do better, especially to pressure Israel to end the war?
I think they are at stake here. They are. The international community, the ICJ and the International Criminal Court, all three of them are at stake. The people are monitoring them. What are they going to do? If they did nothing, then there's no need for them. We don't use them anymore. They spend a lot of money. And where does the money come from? The taxpayer, right? From the money we pay for the UN. What is the use of an international criminal court or the court of justice if they don't bring justice to the people? There's no use. So it is there, they are at stake. I heard the good news, which I hope, well, I heard from the Israeli media, that they are planning the International Criminal Court to issue an arrest warrant against Benjamin Netanyahu and 3 or 4 top generals in the army. I hope it will happen. But then I heard the same news also saying that Americans are putting pressure on the International Criminal Court not to do that. So this is very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate.
And Israel seems to be preemptively moving to handle potential arrest warrant against the Israeli PM issued by the International Criminal Court. And do you think such an arrest warrant will actually be issued, even if the ICC takes such action? Will it greatly impact the ongoing situation?
Of course it will, and positively it will. You will be answering the people who are asking so many questions. You will be telling the people, sending message to the people that here we are not, we deal with human equally. There isn't black and white here. All are equal. And here the proof is we have this man, he committed a crime, we will arrest him, or we have a warrant to arrest him. Otherwise, they will be sending a message which saying, oh, there is certain people who have immunity, and one of them is Benjamin Netanyahu. So it is very important and very close. They arrest him or not, that's not the issue. They bring him to the court or not, but just
they have to send a message.
Yes, absolutely. They need to send this message because the people in the world, majority of the people who follow the situation today, they ask so many questions and they have no answers. You need to answer those people. Those people are your responsibilities. I'm talking about the leadership of those countries. The most effective country in the world, the main player, Europe, United States of America.
There have been lots of protests in Tel Aviv against the Netanyahu government's handling of the situation. Do you think we might see an Israel that is more open to peace in the current PM steps down from power?
There was never been a division in Israel like today. It's a big division, that's true. But the thing which is, I must confess, unfortunately, you have almost over 60% of the population in Israel became a very hardline people from the extreme right. And those kind of people, they have much worse leadership to control them. So without proper pressure and proper measures, and sometimes maybe a sanction, the majority of the Israeli, they won't accept any peace deal with the Palestinians. They won't give you, they won't withdraw from the territory. You have to show some force. I'm not saying force like tanks and, no. Some measures has to be taken. The Israeli society has to understand that they cannot live in peace and security before they withdraw from the territory that they occupied in 1967 and they allow the Palestinian state to be born. Without that, there is no security for you, and they have to know that this time we are not going to save you.
Yeah.
So this is the most important thing, that how much efforts those measure, and let me be very clear, call the things by its name. I'm going to talk about those countries. I'm talking about 5 European countries, the biggest 5, plus the United States of America. That's enough. Because the other is guaranteed. Talk about China, India, Japan, South Africa, Brazil. They guarantee their position is very clear. But I'm talking about those countries who represent the air that Netanyahu and Israel breathe from. Those are the major European countries plus the United States of America. If they decide, believe me, it will happen just like that.
Ambassador, the official recognition of Palestine's statehood in the UN has been a sticking point for a very long time. As of April, 140 of the 193 United Nations member states have recognized the state of Palestine. However, the US keeps vetoing at the Security Council and denying Palestine full membership. However, with the recent surge of support for Palestine internationally, do you think there might be a chance that Palestine might finally be allowed full membership in the UN?
We were supposed to be, except for the American veto. Only it was the American veto. Otherwise, it could have happened. Today, the position have changed. Today, I've read the statement from the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia. He has agreed with majority of the European country that the recognition will take place within May. So that will make the difference.
That's great.
Yeah, if the major important country, I just respect, only Sweden recognized us from Europe. We have a thing. And Spain said that they're willing to do that. Norway are willing to do that. The French will be doing that. And it will follow one by one. This will put the American in more difficult position to veto. any more resolution.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is stated to be flying to Saudi Arabia in order to begin negotiating a ceasefire and also to try and prevent Israel from invading Rafah. Do you think the U.S. will be successful in this endeavor?
Look, Israel, I'm going to be very frank. This issue, it's not that the Americans have the power not to order, but they have the power to hold the red card in front of, they're the referee who can hold the red card in front of the player. So it depends how you approach the Israeli. If you're going to just request them, it doesn't work because you have done that for a long time. You have to show them the red card, that this is the situation, the whole world is against you, you are isolating yourself. Israel has isolated itself completely. So America has two choices. Either it will take the position with Israel and become also isolated in this issue, or it will be with the majority of the world community, with the international community. So America has to decide. America at stake here also. America has to convince Israel one way or another to stop the war, to stop the killing, and to forget about the issue of Rafah, because Rafah will be a disaster. You have 1.3 million people in Rafah. Rafah is 63 kilometers. If you divide this with that, 20,000, almost 20,000 people will be in 1 kilometer. Majority of them are children and women. How are you going to protect them? Where is Hamas there? Can you see? Have you seen them in the camera? I mean, where are they? Nobody knows where they are. How are you going to find them? You have to kill the people in order. It doesn't work.
The Abraham Accords under President Trump were very negatively received among the Arab people and perhaps might have been a catalyst for this current conflict. What do you think of the overall approach the U.S. has taken regarding this conflict so far? You have mentioned these things several times earlier, but do you think it is realistic to expect the normalization of Israel in the Arab world after what happened?
Look, our hope was that no Arab country would recognize Israel before Israel recognized the state of Palestine. And that was an initiative, it was a Saudi initiative actually, and then it was adopted in 2002 in the summit in Beirut, Arab Summit. So this is their initiative. What we said in the initiative clearly, the moment Israel accept the two-state solution and the Palestinians have their own independent state, all the Arabs and the Muslim world will recognize Israel and normalize relation. Going behind this, our president said it's a step in the back. I think I fully agree with him. It was a step in the back. It shouldn't have happened. And the Abraham Accord, I think it's dead before it was born. It was dead born, or it was born dead. So we don't have to speak about it because nobody will accept it. No one. We didn't fight all these years and lost so many of our people, the best people, and then finally we accept something like a few kilometers. And as Netanyahu said, you can call it empire if you like.
We have also recently seen a surge of pro-Palestine student protest in the US. It would seem that there is a large portion of the US population that opposes Israel's actions and is asking for the US to withdraw support. Meanwhile, the Biden presidency has been quite critical of Israel, especially due to attacks against aid workers. As the US elections draw near, do you think there might be a bigger rift between the US and Israel?
Look, also there is a priority for Mr. Biden here. You have to be frank. His election. He wants to run for another 4 years. And now he's confident after the uprising of the thing, he believed that if he continue the same policy, he will not have a chance. He will not have a chance at all. So he need to change. He need to do something dramatically to change the opinion of the people who are not going to vote for him. And he have a big chance for one reason, that on the other side you have Donald Trump, which could be more evil.
Yeah.
I have to choose between the worst and the worst. So make this worse to be good. So I'll choose the good. So Biden have a chance, he have it today, to change the opinion, to make Israel to stop the war, to stop the killing, to stop the genocide, and he'll be a hero. I think he'll have a big chance to remain in the White House. Otherwise, I don't think he'll have a chance.
Mr. Ambassador, being one of the first nations to recognize Palestine as a state, Bangladesh has been a long supporter of Palestine and has always called for an end to the occupation of Palestine's territories by Israel. And Bangladesh also does not keep diplomatic relations with Israel due to their actions against Palestine. Is there anything more Bangladesh can do to support Palestine in the critical time?
Everybody asks this question, and I would always have the same answer because I'm convinced, 100%. I've served in many countries in the world, including Arab country and other country. I said that before. Everybody says today, I support Palestinian people. I stand with Palestine. I'll do everything for Palestine. You'll hear these stories from everybody. Mm-hmm. But sometimes those people who say, when action needed, he's not there. But for Bangladeshi, it's totally the opposite. We have seen a support from this country, from the person who drives the rickshaw, who cycled the rickshaw, for the intellectual, the government, and the top leader, the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Complete and full support to Palestine. And they mean it. Let me give you a small example, if I may. I told you I wanted to get some girls out. Mm-hmm. I met 9 universities. I thought I have to meet 50 universities in order to get that big number. 9 universities, and I have more number than I need with full scholarship. And they were happy. They were very happy that I am giving them the chance to accommodate a Palestinian student in their university. Where will I find this? I won't find it anywhere in the world. So I must be grateful and thankful to the people.
How many students are you planning to bring?
I have more than 300 seats now. I only need 200 or 250. Mm-hmm. I have over 300 scholarship. And if I meet more and more, I'll get more. So can you imagine? This is unimaginable thing, really. And even I informed my government, they were very, very happy. They didn't even believe it. They couldn't believe it. This is amazing. How can we, the Palestinian people, forget? We established something from the beginning of the war, that we wanted to build an orphanage house in Gaza Strip in the name of Bangladeshi orphanage house, because we have 18,000 orphans in Gaza Strip. 18,000. Mm-hmm. Most of them, they lost both parents. So they have no one. 18,000. So we thought. And when the people heard this, we have a committee for donation. They donate a lot of money for that reason. This is amazing things. And we have a government, they agreed, our government, to give us a piece of land free of charge. And inshallah, as soon as the war stops, we will start and we will raise the flag of Bangladesh over this orphanage house.
Good. Unfortunately, peace in the Middle East seems to be an idea that keeps escaping us. The region's history seems to be one of eternal conflict. Sometimes there is hope that things might change. But now that such tragedy has happened, do you think peace can ever be restored?
Look, there is no other choice but that. It has to be. If it's not today,
but history
tomorrow,
is too long, and
it has been too long. That's true. Absolutely, it's too long. If you look at it, why it's been too long? This is a long story. It will need hours to explain it. The creation of Israel itself in the heart of the Arab world had a meaning, and that meaning was to protect the interest of the Western world in a countries which have the majority of oil and gas. That was the main intention of the Israel was supposed to be created in Argentina, and there was another idea. It was supposed to be created in Uganda. There was many choices, but then when oil emerged, the beginning of this last century, said, this is the right place, and they planted this entity, and they succeeded to make the Arabs divided, and then after them the Muslim divided. So uprooting this entity will make the Arab united, make them strong. But they don't want them to be strong. They don't want them to be powerful. They don't want them to decide who to sell and who not to sell their oil and gas. As long as Israel exists, the Western and the United States of America will decide to whom we sell and to whom we don't sell oil and gas.
So what is the final solution?
The final,
in a nutshell.
Look, the Americans have the right to think the way they like. That's their interest. And I respect that. The European, the same thing.
Okay.
But on the other hand, what are we going to do about it? We also have to think of our best interest. And then we will be a very respected nation. When we only think about our interest first, about our national dignity, about our resources, about how we're going to develop, how we're going to be strong, how we're going to be prosper, how we're going to provide our people and our nation with, how do we respect the human rights in our country? How do we respect the human nature? I think when we reach to this level, we will be very powerful and we will be very united. But today the world has changed a lot. Today the world has changed. The world are shifting. The masses are shifting, are moving. You have a social media. Everybody knows everything today. You cannot hide, you cannot lie. You lie today, the second day or after seconds, people will discover. Before it was different. Today everything is clear in front of the camera. So I think today we are very close to establish peace in the Middle East. On which base it will be established, but it must be established.
Did we miss anything? Would you like to add anything?
No, I think, of course, if I wanted to go into details, I need a lot of time. But I think, again, I wanted to say for Bangladesh, thank you. And for Channel I, thank you very much also.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your thoughts. But this is truly a trying time for Palestine. But the people of Bangladesh stand beside you as always. Dear viewers, that is all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning in. Wherever you are, take care and stay safe.